Googles. So today I'm back with some more Halloween hauls. Basically I think I lasted like less than 24 hours since I filmed my last Halloween haul before I went back to HOMESENSE, and I did buy a few things. You may see them in the background. So I did buy these about a week ago now, and then through the Halloween pages I kept track of like what else was coming into store and if there were any new things and if there was anything I was looking for. And so basically I ended up compiling a little want list. Now alongside this I kept checking the TK MAXX website to see what had come out on there, and basically I've ended up going back again yesterday. So I figured I should probably film this one because I now have a whole new haul from yesterday to film as well. Now straight away I'm going to have to apologise for the fact that one, my window is open so it may be quite noisy and I may end up looking kind of shiny. England has come back to its heat wave for no apparent reason, so unfortunately I will slowly be melting under these lights. But let's go ahead and sprinkle ourselves with some autumnal feels. So first off, let's go for a classic. Let's start with a snow globe. So I've been so good this year. This is only the second snow globe I've bought this year. By this time last year I think I was about on my 5th, so I've been really good this year. Saying that though, there have been a lot of repeats. I did mention this in a previous video, but TK MAXX and HOMESENSE, they're sister stores. You'll find the same sort of things in both of them, but they work on like things of 3. So basically they'll bring out something the first year in a small quantity, they'll see how it sells, then the second year if it sells well they'll bring out loads of them, and then in the third year you'll get the dribs and drabs. So basically a lot of the snow globes that were out last year are out this year again. They're either sort of like in their second or third year, but this however was the first time I've ever seen this. I don't think this was out last year, but I absolutely loved this. I thought, oh my goodness, I've just realised that they're candy corn. Like, they're candy corn mice. They are candy corn mice. This is okay, right. I've just fallen slightly more in love with this. Basically, I got this snow globe. It's one of the ones which are kind of on like a little stand. I think I've only got 4 of these which are on stands. They're not as common. They're still the same price, $12.99, but it's like, it's got a wood effect, but I'm pretty sure these stands are still resin. And then the top of it has your kind of snow globe or glitter globe, however you'd like to call it. And in this one you can see there is a little pumpkin mouse scene, which is now even better because it's now a pumpkin mouse candy corn scene. So as you can see, it's like a really happy pumpkin. The pumpkin definitely gives me like vintagey vibes, and it is like a 3D. There's not really much going on in like the back half. It's just like the back side of the pumpkin. But as you can see, it's pumpkin 3D. It's got its little like stalk going on as well. And then sat on the pumpkin are these 2 mice that I've just realised they're kind of like in candy corn colours, if that makes sense. Like maybe I'm reading too far into this, but like their little like shorts and their top look like the layers of the candy corn and that little, oh, anyway, cute mice. There's 2 mice on here. I did actually get this for my classroom. I figured it was quite thing is, within British schools Halloween isn't really celebrated, and when it is, it's very child friendly, and I thought this would be a nice child friendly thing. So it just kind of features these 2 trick-or-treating mice. They've got like little capes on and tiny little masks, and then they have got this one lollipop. I did think that was another sweet in the background, but that's actually just the stalk of the pumpkin, and one of them is holding like a little kind of candy lollipop. And one of the main reasons I felt like this would go really nicely in my classroom is because I have recently got Chris Miner's new book, which is called Hornbeam Hollow, The Hunt for the Halloween Pumpkin, I think it's called, and that features loads of like kind of woodlandy animals. It's so cute. It's absolutely gorgeous. Any of you with baby bats, I'd 100% recommend purchasing this spooky season, or you know, for the rest of the year, just to kind of keep the whole year spooktacular. I will leave a link down below, but it did completely remind me of that story, and since I've got that book within my classroom, and it's something that I'm going to be doing with them when we get to October, because it's like child friendly and it's spooky and Halloweeny and autumny, I figured this would go really nicely with the book. Inside it does have our regular black glitter, but there's also a few little kind of silver flecks in there as well. So most of these have like black glitter and then tiny little black bat confettis that go around, but this one just, I think, Yeah, this one just has black and silver glitter, so it doesn't have the bats in, but it's still super cute. And to be honest, I don't really shake them that often. I'm just like in love with the little scenes inside them. So yeah, here is the first thing that I got for $12.99, and it is just so adorable. Also, the fact that it's slightly raised means like kind of displaying these is a lot easier. Just gonna grab like the first thing I can see. Like if you're displaying it like this, you can kind of like overlap things like that a lot easier than when it's lower down and you kind of have to try and get it like in front of the glass and it doesn't quite work. So definitely a pro of having this stand, although I do quite like the kind of scenes that you usually get around the bottom. So that is the first thing that I have to show you today, which I am super excited about, and I'm sure, you know, I'll be getting another snow globe soon. And then the next thing that I have to show you today is a salute to last year for hashtag Year of the Ghost. Basically, how could I not? Within one of my last HomeSense hauls, I did mention that I have like various Halloween Facebook pages, like for example the Haunted Ghoul group, which I know a lot of you are part of, and on my Facebook like Halloween pages, it is kind of quite common that you see people like exchanging Halloween things. So for example, if you say like, I am looking for this ghost, if anyone sees it, like I'm happy to pay for the item, the postage, and sometimes people offer like a couple of pounds like incentive, if that makes sense. And then if one of you ghouls find it and want to, you can kind of buy it and ship it to the person, and obviously they'll pay you for it. It definitely is a little bit risky. You have to obviously make sure you, one, trust the person and that you are doing it safely. So for example, if you're going through PayPal, I'd recommend doing goods and services. I know it does take out some of the money, or potentially could like bulk up the amount of money you're paying, but it does just kind of add a little bit of safety to it. But of course, if you are happy to trust whoever's doing it and you have a good rapport with them, then go ahead. But basically the reason I'm chatting about this is because one of the lovely ladies on there, her name is Kirsty, and she had sent me loads of pictures of like what she was finding within HomeSense and TK MAXX, and she sent me a picture of this ghostie, and I fell in love straight away. It's one of those pieces which I thought, if I do not get this year, I will be so sad. Like some pieces, like I would be sad if I didn't get them, but then like after Halloween season I wouldn't be like longing for them. But this I felt like was one of those like must-have pieces, which if I didn't get, I would just genuinely be upset about it for like the whole year. I know, this is the struggles of a Halloween addict. Anyway, so she sent me a picture of this, and I didn't know how like common they'd be. I didn't know if I'd find one in my local store. It's the first year it's out, so I didn't know how, like what quantity they were coming out in. So when she sent me a picture of this, I was like, please can you get it for me? And I PayPal'd her. It cost $9.99, so it's only a tenner, which I would usually expect to pay between like 13 and like £15 for this, so it was cheaper than I was expecting anyway. So she did pick me up one of these ghosts, and then I went to my HomeSense like the day after, and there was like 5 of them in my store. So obviously this is quite like a high quantity item this year, but it is so cute, and again it has such vintagey vibes. And as I said, salute to hashtag Year of the Ghost from last year. But I absolutely love this piece. It is resin, which means it is going to be hollow. It does also light up. It does take some batteries. Unfortunately, they didn't like supply the batteries. Sometimes they kind of include the batteries, sometimes they don't, and I did actually go ahead and buy some batteries so I could show you what this looked like when it lit up. But of course I bought AA, and these need AAA, so that's fabulous, isn't it? But this does light up. I've seen that it lights up like an orangey tone, and although there are holes in like his eyes, I'll show you closer in a second, although there are like holes in his eyes, actually now I'm looking at it a bit closer, they don't even look like holes, they just look like, well, they're holes, but they just like they've been drilled but not all the way through. I figured it would light like all the way up to his eyes, but it does only kind of light up the pumpkin face, so you are only going to see light through the mouth, the nose and the eyes. I'm really not sure what's going on with those now that I'm looking slightly closer, but yeah, it does light up. So here is his cute little face. You can probably see these holes that I'm talking about. I say holes, they're literally just drilled in, but they're not all the way through, so I'm not really sure. Perhaps they were planning to drill all the way through and add like lights or something, or have it so that if you drilled all the way through, the light would shine through them. I'm not too sure. Potentially, I guess, since the material would like be like thinned around here. Potentially in the night, if you lit this up, it would slightly light up his eyes, maybe. I'll have to give it a go. But he does have really cute little rosy cheeks and such a happy face. This is the kind of ghost that I live for. And again, this would be quite like a child friendly thing to have at school. He's holding on to the lid of the pumpkin, so he's kind of coming out and then holding on to the lid. And this pumpkin in the pictures did look glittery, but it's actually not. It's more of just like an odd texture. I don't think I have any pumpkins in this like specific texture, but it's kind of like, you can probably see it, it's almost like bubbly, if that makes sense. But there's a lot of texture there. It is predominantly orange, but there are some kind of whites in the background. It does look like the kind of texture was made and then they kind of washed over it with the orange, which does give it a pretty cool effect. And then in the eyes, the nose and the mouth, they have kind of like sort of lined the inside in like black, but it's like very rough, like it's quite a rough paint job, which is quite kind of a common thing when it does come to these HomeSense items. But to me, this is kind of a vintage looking piece, so I really do not mind. And then the pumpkin itself has your kind of classic triangle eyes and then these 3 little gappy teeth. And then underneath, as you can see, it does have the little compartment for the batteries and your on off switch. As usual, I'm not like I do like light up items. They are exciting to me, but it's not always like the biggest selling point for me, because I only really light up my items come Halloween night. The rest of the time they're just kind of sat around looking pretty. And you may have noticed that my window is now empty because Trevor has moved to school, so I have been looking for some slightly bigger items to go up on that window. So I think little Ghosty may be in the background, that or potentially I'll be moving him to my ghoul gang, which lives on top of my vivarium. But yes, I'm so pleased with this, and for £10 I thought it was such a steal. And I just want to like take a second just to say to Kirsty, thank you so much for being so understanding. As I said, she did buy me one of these, and then I ultimately got one myself, so she I don't know if she ended up taking it back or if she kept it for herself. I really hope she kept it for herself, but I just want to say now, thank you very much for being super understanding, because like I couldn't cope, I needed one there and then. But yeah, absolutely love this, and definitely one of my favourite items that I've got so far this year. So I think the last thing that I'm going to show you today is something which I was going on and on and on about. I have got a few other things, but I can already see this video is getting like long already. This is something which I know I did mention in my last video. I literally put out like a I am hunting for this, and then like straight away I went to my HomeSense and it was like just sat there. It was like the first thing I saw when I walked in, and it's this cat on a pumpkin. So this is the infamous cat on a pumpkin, the one which I had been searching for. This is the one which I end up buying the cat on the skull, because I was like, oh, they're like the same cat, and then like they really weren't. But yeah, I like look around my room and like pretty much I think like my most bought item is like cats on pumpkins. And like I don't know, like I can just see so many like other cats and pumpkins like literally just sat next to me. But yeah, basically this cat in a pumpkin, on a pumpkin even, is one which I really wanted. It was just, again, one of those pieces which I was like, this is just one of my like must-haves of this year. They do sell this cat, I think just sat on its own. I don't think they sell this cat on a skull, but they do also sell like a different cat on a pumpkin that matches the cat on the skull. So just cooling down. As I said, this like was a piece that I really wanted, and I went in and straight away, I think again there was like 2 or 3 of these in my local HomeSense, and I had to get him. Now he is definitely different from all the other pieces that I've got from HomeSense. Like this is like super kind of hollow and light, whereas this is proper heavy. It's definitely like one of the heavier pieces that I have got before from HomeSense. I mean, like I have got like, as I said, a lot of like cats and pumpkins, and none of them have quite felt this heavy. I mean, I believe it is still a resin, but it almost like feels like ceramic, and like it is just super heavy. I'm not sure how well this would ship, if I'm being honest to you. Even though it feels heavy, even though it feels like heavier, I feel like if I dropped it, it would like smash into a million pieces. Whereas like, I'm not saying that these type of things bounce, but like they do feel like more plasticky, if that makes sense. Please excuse me if I'm just resting him on my lap, but he is quite a bit heavier. So he is just sat on a pumpkin. It's not got like a jack-o'-lantern face or anything on it. And then I'd say he is a pretty like, I wouldn't say he's a life-size cat. I'd say he's probably in your middle between like a life-size kitten. He's definitely bigger than a kitten, but my fluff ball is definitely slightly bigger and fatter than him, but maybe that's just my cat. But as you can see, he is really, really detailed, which is something I super liked about this piece. Definitely something that drew me to it. And there's lots of like little details which I didn't even notice from the pictures, but when I saw him I really love. So for example, even though his eyes are yellow, and perhaps I will be kind of repainting them to more of a green, you can see that they've put a gloss on his eyes and his nose to make them shiny, whereas the rest of his body is kind of a matte black. I really liked this because it does kind of give it more of a realistic look, and definitely his proportions and things are very like realistic. And there is like I just have a thing about like realism when it does come to cats. But yeah, he is so adorable, and as you can see there's so much like texture within his fur, especially around his like mane kind of area around his neck. I love that they floofed it out a bit because this just reminds me so much of my kitten when he was younger. But yeah, I absolutely love this. A very simple piece, but also very detailed at the same time. And as you can see from the bottom, this cost $12.99. To be completely honest with you, when I saw photos of it, I was thinking $12.99 was kind of like a standard price. That's sort of what I'd expect. Similar to like how I thought this guy potentially would kind of come in the same sort of a range. But when I picked him up and saw how detailed he was and also how heavy he was, I was kind of expecting him to be more like 15, 16 pound. So for $12.99, I definitely say he is worth it, especially if you're looking for some more realistic cats. And yeah, definitely, even if you are someone who doesn't quite like having jack-o'-lanterns up all year round, not sure why you wouldn't, but if you didn't, this does just have like a pumpkin, so it could just be kind of classed as an autumnal piece, although we know that he is a spooky kitten and he is so adorable. So those were the three things which I got. Well, those are three of the things which I got from HomeSense. I do have a couple more things to show you, but as I said, I think I'm gonna like split it up just because this video is getting very long. And I also have a whole other bag full of bubble wrapped goodies to show you as well. Sneak preview right there in the background. From my trip the other day. So yes, as always, I'll leave all the information that you need down below. You can find some of these items on TK MAXX's website, so I will also leave a link to their website. All you need to do is just go on their website there and like just search Halloween, and quite a few like pieces come up, not these specific pieces, but very similar, and it will give you kind of an idea of what is in store. I also 100% recommend joining my Halloween Facebook page, Haunted Ghoul Group, and also I added in another group called Halloween Watch UK. Both of those are fantastic places to go and find out information about kind of what's in store, and also you may find ghouls that are like local to you, and then perhaps they can kind of share what's in your local store so you know exactly what you're in for. So yes, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a spooktacular Halloween. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. If it's sunny where you are, I hope you're enjoying the shade, and I will see you next time. Bye!